Hi, welcome to Vegetables, day 13. And I know the first few days of my videos, I was focusing on hopefully trying to lose some weight. But the real goal is for me to find what will help to get me healthier. While losing weight is part of that, it's not the total focus. And so with that today, I didn't do so great on eating. Actually, I did pretty poorly, some people might think. It all started out with having to get up early and get out the door to take the dogs to the groomer. And of course, I made that an excuse. I'm already out. Let's just go to McDonald's. So I went to McDonald's for breakfast, and I had 2 sandwiches, hash brown, a burrito, and my coffee. So pretty much enough calories for the whole entire day. Well, of course, that's not going to last me a whole entire day. I did choose not to eat lunch and just have one of my granola bars while I was fixing dinner. But for dinner, not only did we eat dinner at home, which you're going to see that is an accomplishment for me and my family, but I actually cooked it from scratch. We had beef stew and cornbread. Now, the cornbread was from a mix, but I had to make it and bake it. And then the beef stew I cooked in my Instant Pot, and I really, really like when meat is cooked in the Instant Pot because it is so juicy and so tender. Stew meat can sometimes be very tough. And before I cooked it, I just browned it. It was really tough to the point where, I couldn't even cut a piece of it in half without using a really sharp knife. But once it cooked, and it only takes 35 minutes of actual pressure cooking. Total, it probably took me about an hour to prepare it, cook it, and then let the pressure release, which is not too bad. But, once meat gets cooked in the pressure cooker, it is so tender. I mean, it just comes apart so easily with just a spoon. So I had that with the cornbread. I won't be eating anything else for the day. I'm pretty full. But, it got me to thinking, today I wasn't as fatigued. I didn't feel just drained. I was still in a lot of pain, especially my shoulder right here. I can't wait till my appointment on Monday, so we can get going on what's causing this pain. But the pain right here is bad enough that I'm to the point now where I can't even move it out this way. I can move my arm this way, and that's about it. So any rate, it got me to thinking that I wasn't so fatigued. So I'm wondering if some of my fatigue is because I'm just not eating enough. I'm trying to follow this shred diet and, having, just something very light for breakfast, having a 100-calorie snack, then having something else light for lunch, and having another 150-calorie snack, then having a dinner that's, my body's used to having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. Sometimes just breakfast and dinner. And so now I'm trying to fit in these snacks and eat smaller meals, and I'm just wondering if perhaps, that's what could be causing me to feel so weak. I do know that I struggle with, or have struggled with in the past, iron deficient anemia. The problem is not the amount of iron in my blood, but the way that my body's absorbing it. It just doesn't absorb it very well. So that could be playing a factor. But I see the orthopedic specialist on Monday to find out what's with my arm, and hopefully we can start getting some relief there. And then on Wednesday I go to the pain clinic to do a review on how my injection for my back and SI joints are doing, which they've pretty much worn off, I believe. And then I will also be getting the results of my EMG on my leg, and hopefully we can find something out there as well. Perhaps diagnosis of what's wrong with my leg may help with finding out why I get so weak and so tired so easily. We were attributing it to the leukemia and the medication, but the leukemia seems to be under control and I'm not on the medication anymore. So there has to be something else that's causing me to, be so fatigued all the time. I know that the neurologist that did my EMG asked me more than once, "Are you diabetic?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." So apparently, he definitely found something. And, I'm thinking it's neuropathy, but what's causing the neuropathy? So I've been looking into what exactly peripheral neuropathy is and what can cause it. Also looking into what an abnormal EMG could indicate. So just kind of trying to keep my mind active until the appointment. It just seems forever. But that was the earliest appointment that they had. I was actually supposed to go yesterday, but when the original neurologist canceled the appointment, I immediately called the pain clinic and said, well, he's not going to be able to see me. He can't see me till April. And then it was at that point that I had the idea, well, let's go ahead and call my mom's neurologist to see if he could get me in sooner, which he could. And then that was scheduled for today, I believe, originally. Today or tomorrow originally. But then I think I mentioned this before, but they called me that same day and said, oh, we have a cancellation tomorrow. Can you make it? And I'm like, yes, I can. But by that time I had already canceled my appointment with the pain clinic, and they didn't have another one until next week. And then ever since, I have to talk to the pain doctor too, but ever since the neurologist did the EMG, I'm having this weird sensation in my right leg when I touch it in a certain spot. It's weird. I touch it in like a certain spot on my thigh, and I feel a prick in my knee. Like that nerve just didn't like the test, because then where I feel that sensation, the EMG, he put the electrical pulse, and I'm like, ow, 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 that really hurt. So I don't know, I guess we'll find out if there's something with my knee too, my left knee too. As I said, I'm a mess. And so I called my channel vegetables because I know that's part of the pathway that I need to go down. is to make sure that I do incorporate more vegetables into my diet. And I did that today because, I had carrots and potatoes in my stew, and onions. So, that's good, right? It really is. Because if I continue to go out to eat, the only vegetables I might get would be some lettuce and tomato, maybe. So being able to make stew at home, I know what's in it. There's no artificial ingredients because it's all single ingredients that I put from a recipe that I put together. And so it's all whole foods. I can control the amount of salt that I put in it. I can control the amount of fat. So instead of, the only fat that it had was, the fat that came from the beef, and then 1 tablespoon of olive oil to brown the meat in, just so it wouldn't stick to the bottom of the Instant Pot. Other than that, I'm trying to think, no, there was no other fat that I added, so I'm, happy about that. So it does make a difference. Oh, and I forgot there was fat in the cornbread. The cornbread just sounded so good. I was going to make dumplings, but cornbread sounded better. Well, I'm just rambling now, aren't I? I just really enjoyed my dinner. But, again, the channel, I called it Vegetables because, well, it's a play on my last name, obviously. And I thought it was kind of neat that I could do that. But also I know that I need to incorporate a lot more vegetables into my diet in order to get healthier. But the premise of the channel is what I need to do to get healthy. And part of that is finding out what's wrong, finding a course of action to treat it. Now, I will say that there are some things that diagnoses that I have gone the traditional treatment, used that treatment to relieve the symptoms, and then found an alternative natural treatment to maintain the low level of healing that I reached with the traditional treatment. And then, I do have, in some cases, I have discontinued the traditional treatment for these alternative methods. And then if something flares up, then, I'll go back to and rely on the traditional treatment. Case in point is, I've mentioned I have interstitial cystitis, and the traditional treatment is, a medication that it's a dye that coats my bladder and relieves the pain. And I still have to use that once in a while. But the biggest way that I control it is avoiding citric acid and cinnamon. Those are 2 really big flares for me. Also very acidic apples. So, I like things like orange juice, anything that's fruit processed and fruit flavored. Any high acidic foods. Soda, I avoid soda because of my esophagus, but I also avoid soda because all of it has citric acid in it. Some worse than others. The last time I had a Sprite, I paid for it because it's, lemon lime flavored, so it has lemon juice and lime juice in it. But it also has citric acid, so yeah, my pain levels here. But, I keep the medicine around just in case. But it's mostly controlled by avoiding the foods that trigger it. And then when I have a flare, which these daily videos of what I have to eat every day is definitely going to help. But if I have a flare, I can go back the last day, because it's always the next, either that night or that same day after I eat it, or the next day when I have the flare. But I can go back and think about, well, what did I have to eat? Was there anything new? And believe it or not, that includes medications. The last big flare I had, it put me in bed. It was so bad. I could not even walk. I was in so much pain. I mean, I was almost in tears. I was in so much pain. Even with taking the medicine. The medicine, like, took the pain from a 10 to a 7. Who wants to be in a pain of 7? But I was almost in tears, and I thought back, well, what did I have? What could it be? Well, I didn't have anything to eat or drink that should have caused a flare. And the only thing I could attribute it to was I had started taking new medication. And I'm like, citric acid in a medication? Really? Because it's, used as a preservative. And I'd never seen it before, because I always look at my medicine, the ingredients. And so I looked up the medicine, and sure enough, it had citric acid as one of the inactive ingredients. So, of course, I immediately stopped taking it. Immediately. And immediately called my doctor and said, I can't take this. Oh. But I was, really shocked that something like that could happen. Trying to think if there's anything else. But, I mean, that's again, a case in point of, the other thing is another example of using traditional medicine mixed with alternatives. I have reflux disease and irritable bowel, so I do take a medication twice a day for that. But even with the medication, if I eat the wrong foods, it'll flare up. The medication won't be 100% effective. So, again, I find it's the acidy foods, pretty much anything that irritates my bladder can irritate my stomach. So, as far as arthritis, I don't want to take any of the opioids. Absolutely, positively not. I can't take the NSAIDs, which are non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. So the only thing else I have would be something along the line of like a gabapentin or a Lyrica, and they can have very serious side effects as well. So I did mention in a previous video that I recently have started taking moringa, and it seems to be helping somewhat. But I'll still continue to look into alternatives, because I'm taking so many medicines now. That's one reason I went to the pain doctor, is because instead of taking a systemic medication, I get the steroid shots in my back right at the point where I'm having the pain and inflammation, so that it doesn't go all throughout my body. I mean, obviously, my kidneys still filter, my blood and kidneys still filter the medication out of my system, but it doesn't go to my whole entire body. So it has fewer side effects. And that's the nice thing about my cancer medicine, is it does the same. It did the same thing. Rather than attacking and affecting all of my cells like traditional chemotherapy, it targets a specific enzyme that's on the surface of the cells. And this, it's an inhibitor. And so by inhibiting this enzyme, it tells the cancer cells to die. Because, that's the problem with cancer cells, is they just don't know when to die. And they just keep growing and growing and growing and multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. So this, this inhibitor works with the signaling of the cells. And so then the cancer cell learns how to die. And I think that's just so fascinating that there was a scientist that was intelligent enough to figure it out. I'm not. But they just were able to study the cells, find out what the mechanisms of the cells were that caused the cancer, and then said, well, why don't we do this and see how this works? And lo and behold, it worked. Okay, so it does seem as if I'm now rambling. So, I tend to do that a lot. And my husband gets tired of hearing me talk all the time. So being able to do these videos every day, I think, is going to help with that as well. And, that getting all this off my chest and being able to talk about, what I'm thinking and what I'm experiencing is also a good outlet for my health as well. Well, once again, I hope that you are enjoying this everyday video. You enjoy seeing my face, even if my hair, I obviously didn't style my hair today. This is all natural, which, I'm trying to go through more often. But, I hope that you are enjoying getting to know me. And I hope that, we can go on this journey together. Welcome your comments, because I like that interaction. Pretty limited right now as far as what we can do, where we can go because of COVID. Which, incidentally, I did get my results back today, and it was not detected, which is what I fully expected. But I enjoy the interaction, and YouTube and Facebook, which I'm getting sick of because of all the crap that they're posting. But YouTube has really been a good outlet and outreach for me. And then, subscribe so that you can help me out. And then once you subscribe, that allows you to hit the notification button and a notification bell. And then you'll know when I release a video every day. Well, and that's it for today. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you all tomorrow.